matters is not which party controls our government, but whether our government is controlled by the people. For too long, a small group in our nation's capital has reaped the rewards of government while the people have borne the cost. The establishment protected itself, but not the citizens of our country. That all changes starting right here and right now.
On this episode of Just Informed Talk, we're going to take a look at the latest new Q posts, and this is an incredible episode as Q is naming names of the criminals in this organized crime that was taking place for blackmail, extortion, and control. We're going to look at what that is and how that's going to play out as Ghislaine Maxwell has been arrested. And now we are seeing exactly who is behind this. So you guys are going to stick around and check out that and a whole lot more. Hi, and welcome to another episode of Just Informed Talk. You guys know the drill. Look, thank you if you've hit that subscribe button. If you haven't, come here. It's right here on the landing page. Click it, then hit that bell and select all so you get notified as soon as all these videos get posted. And don't forget to stick around at the end. We do a segment called God's Grace is Greater, where we talk about God's grace and how it is truly greater. And today we're going to look at some very uplifting verses out of the book of 2 Peter, talking about humbling ourselves and what that looks like. So I really encourage you guys to stick around and hear that message at the end of this episode. Now, we're going to pick up right where we left off. We left off at Q post 4565, picking up at 4566. And so when we left our last video, we covered this exact tweet that Q's pointing us to before Q posted it. So that is interesting, and we're going to get right into it. Before we do that, though, remember, download the Brave browser for free today if you want to get a great product. It's an internet browser, just like Chrome, Firefox, or Safari, or whatever you're using, but it's better. You can use it to block the ads and make your internet experience that much better. So use the link in the description today to download it, install it, and run it on your computer or your desktop or laptop, and they'll make a contribution to this channel. So check it out in the link today. Now, back to the latest Q post. We're going to start here with this deplorable, RN deplorable status, right? And Q points us here from an anon on the board's a good dig. So, you know, like I was just saying, in our last episode, I covered this because it was posted on one of my Twitter feeds, and I thought it was very interesting. And then, obviously, after I published the video and put it up, then Q kept posting and then posted a reference to this exact thing that I had talked about in the last episode. But we'll cover it again real quick and then look at what context Q wants us to look at it through. So it talks about here that we got this post from December of 2019 where it said the first indictment unsealed will trigger mass population awakening. First arrest will verify action and confirm future direction. They will fight you, or they will fight, but you are ready. Marker 9Q. So nobody really knew exactly what that meant at the time this post was made, but then we were given more text later in May of 2020 when Q gave us this timeline of events, right? It was connected to a Maria Bartiromo tweet, but it gave us this full schedule. And it said week 1, week 2, week 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And the culmination of week 10 is this weekend here, July 4th. And so that's what everyone was looking at. Week 10 is going to be something big. We're here at week 9. And that week 9 included the arrest of Ghislaine Maxwell, who is presumably the first unsealed indictment that's going to trigger a mass population awakening. Now, Q says it's not exactly that, but let's see what Q has to say about it. Q says, impressive, most impressive argument. Quote, Maxwell is not big enough name to trigger a mass awakening. Example, counter argument, do not make statements based on assumption of worth and or value. Do not think today, but rather after today. One leads to another, to another, to another. One leads to many crimes against children, common denominator, no matter political affiliation, mass population awakening, have faith in humanity. Q. So, okay, a lot of the people on the boards were saying, well, Maxwell's not big enough a name to do this, but as Q is pointed out here, it's not about necessarily how big her name is. It's about what's the domino effect going to be from this? How is this going to lead to other arrests? And if you guys have been following, you'll understand that what Q's alluded to, especially in the last few posts, was that Ghislaine Maxwell may have been even more active in this operation than Jeffrey Epstein, and Jeffrey Epstein might have been her pawn, if that makes sense, meaning he wasn't really the mastermind of all this. It was actually Ghislaine Maxwell, which makes sense if you look at the history of her father, as Q alluded to in the last post, talking about the fact that her father was, this major media magnate in Great Britain who was involved with all types of intelligence agencies and mysteriously died on his yacht and under very suspicious circumstances, which only has led to the mystery growing around his death and his life and what he was involved with. But it seems that upon his death, his daughter took over the business of whatever you want to call it, blackmail operations, honey traps, intelligence, collection, whatever you want to categorize this as. That's what she was involved with. And what's amazing to me is that here we are with all this information and all this evidence that's pointing toward these results, pointing toward these actions having been taken illegally, and you don't hear a peep in the fake news. Why? Because all their handlers, all the puppet masters, are the ones who are going to be implicated by what was happening here with this woman. As Q told us in a previous post, very clearly and explicitly, I want to reread this again, where it talks about how the primary goal of what they were doing was to gather blackmail on elected politicians, dignitaries, royalty, Hollywood influencers, Wall Street, and other financial top-level players, other high-profile industry-specific people, etc., and then to feed their addiction so that they could be controlled. That was their whole shtick. That was their whole gig. The gig was find out what these people want, then supply it to them steadily so that they can be controlled. And make sure you blackmail them as you give them these disgusting things, as you feed their sick proclivities. So that's what this is all about. And Q told us it very clearly in the last post, but you're not going to hear fake news CNN talk about it. You're not going to hear MSDNC talk about it because these people are criminals. These people hate this country. The people are sabotaging it for failure because they are actual Marxist, communist, Leninists who really want to see the American system destroyed and then replaced with some communist dystopia. So, yeah, the next few posts are very interesting. Q gives us these pictures, and I'll just go through them real quick. We had the findings from the Inspector General report that were put out, where it talked about notes being taken on what was found on Anthony Weiner's laptop that had information about Hillary Clinton and Foundation and crime against children. Yeah, I think that's what we're going to be getting into. And they talk about the U.S. attorney who was fired from the Southern District of New York. His name was Berman. He was replaced just last week ahead of this. So it seems as though he was the one keeping this from moving forward, and President Trump removed him. And now we have the information getting out there. Now, the next one here is, of course, Ghislaine Maxwell, Prince Andrew, one of the royals out of the royal family, and Virginia Giuffre, who has been integral in exposing these criminal pedophile elites or supposed elites who were working with Ghislaine and Jeffrey Epstein and going to their island and engaging in the disgusting acts that they were involved with, and being exposed to all the blackmail. The next post here is obviously a picture of Ghislaine and Bill Clinton. The next post here is Jeffrey Epstein, Ghislaine Maxwell, and Harvey Weinstein, all with X's through their faces. So it seems as though there's been a cleaning of house, if you will, across the board of these sick, disgusting pedophiles who were involved in and Hollywood sleazebags who were involved in framing people and controlling the flow of information to a lot of these honey trap intelligence operations, it seems. So these people were probably all involved in the same stuff together. And that's something that people don't want to wake up to. That's something the fake news continues to lie about on a regular basis. They cover it up because they're criminals and they're abetting a criminal insurrection in this nation right now that is seeking to overthrow the republic that you and I have, done our best to protect up till this point. Now, the next post here that Q wants us to look at is this Fisher of Men tweet, right? And it's this individual taking the oath, and just a very, well thought out video, and very touching to see you guys all coming together, taking the oath. Let's watch this.
I do solemnly swear and affirm that I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States against all enemies, foreign and domestic, that I will bear the true faith and allegiance to the same, that I take this obligation freely, without any mental reservation or purpose of evasion, and that I will faithfully discharge the duties of this office in which I am about to enter, so help me God. Where we go one, we go all. Patriots, let's unite. Let's stay in prayer, because our great republic and Constitution is built upon a foundation from this good book. Let us stay in prayer for the people, for our leaders, and for our president. We are the light that shines through the darkness, and the darkness has not overtaken it. To quote a famous patriot, Patrick Henry, give me liberty or give me death.
So there you have it. Thank you, Patriot Sam, for getting that video up. It's so powerful and so true. But yeah, we have to protect our rights here, and we have to fight for it, because they're trying to take it away from us, and that's really obvious. Q says, thank you, Sam. We're in this together. Where we go, and we go all Q. And the next one here is Kate Awakening over on Twitter, where she gives us this powerful video, which is a cut together with a very appropriate song that, gave me goosebumps when I watched it. So I'll leave a link to it and I'll retweet it if you guys want to go check it out. Kate does a good job on Twitter. You should go follow her if you're not already. And yeah, I just thought that was very interesting. Q shared that and then says, trust Dan. Dan Scavino, obviously. And we all know that Dan's been involved with this from day one. We know a few others have been involved with it from day one. And those are the individuals who are helping to facilitate this dissemination of information around the fake news media and helping to restore our republic. So we should be praying for all those patriots out there. Now, a few more pictures here. Just, nothing, no big deal. Just Bill Clinton with all of his supposed victims here. Rachel Chandler, specifically in this one here, reminds me of what you would say is the child handler. That's what people have said her last name may actually be a reference to, Chandler as in child handler. And yeah, this is disgusting and evil. Again, here's Bill Clinton being serenaded with, I think this looks like the back of Ghislaine Maxwell's head here, by some person. Looks like an underage girl. This photo here, I've seen it before. It was in court documents from Virginia Giuffre about Epstein Island. These are some of the other underage girls that they were bringing to the island itself, and I believe this picture was taken on the island. So yeah, if you see all that. Now, this is where it gets interesting. Q is naming names, and I'm going to read every name off this list, and if you recognize any of these people, that's not good. That means that they're involved with Jeffrey Epstein, most likely, and that they were involved with some of this criminal, disgusting mess that's been happening. Adam Perry Lang, Akon, Alan Dershowitz, Alberto Pinto, Alec Baldwin, Alyssa Rogers, Anderson Cooper, Andrea Mitrovic, Andres Pastrana, Colombian president, Anthony Kiedis, Audrey Rambolt, Barack Obama, Ben Affleck, Beyonce Knowles, Bill Clinton, Bill Hammond, Bill Murray, Brian Affleck, Karen Casey, Casey Wasserman, Charlie Sheen, Chelsea Handler, Chris Tucker, Chris Wagner, Chrissy Teigen, Cindy Lopez, Claire Hazel, Courtney Love, Dan Schneider, David Koch, David Yarovsky, Demi Moore, Doug Band, Ed Tuttle, Ehud Barak, Ellen Spencer, Emmy Taylor, Fleur Perry Lang, Freya Wising, Gary Roxburgh, Ghislaine Maxwell, Glenn Dubbin, Greg Hulbert, Gwen Stefani, Gwendolyn Beck, Hank Kohler, Heather Mann, Henry Rozovsky, James Franco, James Gunn, Jean-Luc Brunel, Jean-Michel Gauthier, Jeffrey Epstein, Jeffrey Jones, Jeffrey Epstein again, Jim Carrey, Jimmy Kimmel, Joe Pagino, John Cusack, John Legend, Juan Pablo Molyneux, Juliette Bryant, Justin Roiland, Kathy Griffin, Katy Perry, Kelly Spam, Kevin Spacey, Christy Rogers, Larry Summers, Larry Vazosky, Laura Wasserman, Lawrence Krauss, Linda Pinto, Lisa Summers, Lynn Forster de Rothschild, Madonna Sisson, Mandy Ellison, Mark Collins Rector, Mark Epstein, Mark Lloyd, Marshall Mathers III, Melinda Luntz, Meryl Streep, Michelle Wolf, Naomi Campbell, Natalie Blanchon, Nicole Junkerman, Oliver Sacks, Oprah Winfrey, Paula Halla, Paul Halla, Paul Mellon, Paula Epstein, Peter Marino, Pharrell Williams, Quentin Tarantino, Ralph Ellison, Ray Barzana, Ricardo Legoretta, Robert Downey Jr., Rodney Slater, Ron Burke, Sandy Berger, Sarah Kellen, Seth Green, Sean Carter, Shelley Harrison, Shelley Lewis, Sophie Biddle, Stephanie Germanata, Stefan Collins, Stephen Colbert, Steven Spielberg, Steven Tyler, Svetlana Gryaznova, Tiela Davies, Tiffany Gramza, Tom Hanks, Tom Pritzker, Tyler Gresham, Victor Salva, Virginia Roberts, currently why he was arrested, Wanda Sykes, Will Ferrell, Will Smith, Woody Allen. Yeah. So those are the people you hear the loudest, right, coming out saying, oh, this is fake. You guys don't know what you're talking about. Trump's evil, Orange Man bad. We have to put Biden in the office. Well, you wonder why. Perhaps it might just be that these sick people were involved in the most disgusting and evil kind of depravity with Jeffrey Epstein, Ghislaine Maxwell, and others. And maybe, perhaps, people like Stephen Colbert and Steven Spielberg and others, and Steven Tyler and Kevin Spacey and the rest, and Charlie Sheen are so anti-Trump because he is going to expose the criminal enterprise which they have been involved with as sick pedophile trafficking was happening, right? Really disgusting and really disturbing when you look at it in its entirety. But I'll leave a link to the list in the comments below in the description. So look, if you guys, some of these names I recognize, some of them I don't. So if give you one example, Katy Perry. How sad is this? You know, these people and Beyonce Knowles, these girls came into show business as basically, I know Katy Perry came in as a gospel singer, right? Could you imagine coming into Hollywood as a gospel singer, singing the gospel of our Lord and Savior Christ and helping to bring positivity and light and goodness into the world, and then being just completely brainwashed and manipulated? Or maybe she willingly did it. I don't want to, say what the intentions were without knowing, but the fact that you go from singing gospel to singing, these people's disgusting, depraved praises, while also, doing the whole eye symbol and, who knows what they're doing, worshiping some idols and, dressing up like old Egyptian queens and pretending that, that they're, in charge of the temple or whatever it is. See, to me, it's disgusting. It's disturbing. And we must expose these people. That's really what it has to be. The next post here is even more disturbing. It is a picture. Now, they say a picture's worth 1,000 words. Well, this is a picture that's not fake. It's not from anywhere. This was pulled directly from Rachel Chandler's Instagram. And on her Instagram, she took a picture of a surveillance camera bank that Q has told us was from Jeffrey Epstein's island. Now, what's most disturbing about this photo when people zoomed in on it and started doing some research is that this might be a room full of child slaves right here. And one of the observations that was made that was so disturbing that I have to talk about it, because God wants us to help these children and help expose this evil so that we can end it. But that these children are so abused in such a way that they have to sit on buckets because they can't hold their stool. Let's just put it that way, that they are abused so severely in such a way that they have to sit on, 5-gallon buckets because they can't hold it in. I can't imagine that kind of evil, what kind of satanic devil is involved in this kind of stuff. But people focus on this person right here. A lot of people speculate, who that is. I'm not sure exactly who, but I can tell you right now that this camera, this picture that was taken, these people thought they were never going to get caught. They thought they were untouchable. They were posting these pictures on Instagram. This looks like a room full of children who are sitting at a table on top of buckets. And I don't even want to... Such evil, And then this one here that Q gives us is a older Q post, right, where Q tells us to look at Prince Andrew and his connections. Somebody also pointed out that if you actually zoom in on this right here, one of the anons pulled it out. It actually looks, and you can't really see it here, thankfully, or else I wouldn't show it. But it actually, if you zoom in on it, somebody, kind of magnifying that, and it looks like there are people in the background, doing disgusting things, sexual acts, pornographic acts, which obviously you can't make out there, thankfully. And I wouldn't show you that if you could, but somebody did on Twitter, and I happened to be, scrolling through the Twitter feed, and they were like pointing that out. And I said, wow, that's interesting that, this is the picture that Q wants us to look at. Is it because that they were involved in sick, disgusting, depraved blackmail operations where they were having sex with underage minors? I'm not sure. I don't know. Was it about worshiping Satan and sacrificing children? I don't know. But I do know that the more we expose this, the more we become the enemy of the fake news liars who are covering up for all these criminals. And the more that we draw a light to it, the more that we can end it. And that's what they seem to want to stop. So that means we should probably go that much harder against these criminals, right? That's the way I look at it. So Q wants us to look at that, obviously. Then the next post here is this goodable status. Now, Q says, have faith in humanity, Q. So what's very fascinating about this status, and I want to just talk about this for a very brief moment, is that when you click the link, it doesn't exist. So they deleted the tweet. Okay, well, I get that. It's this organization. They don't want to have any association with it. But luckily, in the Matrix, my good friend Jeff over there in the Matrix put this video up. It was the video from Goodable that got deleted right after Q mentioned it. And it's of a couple, I believe, of maybe deaf, maybe he's deaf, maybe she's not, maybe she's just doing the sign language. But at the end of the day, it looks like she is talking to him in sign language and he's talking back to her in sign language, and it's supposed to be this cute little video. Well, it was fascinating because as soon as this video got deleted, the people seemed to be freaking out at this Goodable. So what you see here, though, is that if you saw that flashback, because I had it open when they had changed it. So originally this was their symbol. Then they changed their cover picture like 2 seconds after Q posted. They deleted their tweet and changed this picture, as we will see here from them pointing it out, to where they actually changed it to where it said Goodable. It just had the word Goodable in there. It didn't have this logo anymore. And Truthhammer, another great account to follow over on Twitter, was pointing out that it matches up with the symbol, right? And Q never said anything about it, but it's just interesting that when you read through that, you see exactly what that was. Now, the next one here I want to talk about is that this is for everyone out there who's saying, oh yeah, President Trump, he's just covering up his connection to Jeffrey Epstein, etc., etc. This is Bradley Edwards. He represented many of Epstein's victims back in 2009. He was sued by Epstein for defamation and countersued and won. He had this to say about President Trump and his involvement with Epstein, saying, quote, "He, President Trump, is the only person in 2009 when I served a lot of subpoenas on behalf of Epstein's victims on a lot of people to some pretty connected people, and I wanted to talk to them. He, Trump, is the only person who picked up the phone and said, let's just talk. I'll give you as much time as you want, tell you what you need to know." He was very helpful in the information that he gave and gave no information whatsoever that he was involved in anything untoward whatsoever, but had good information that checked out and that helped us, and we didn't even have to take a deposition from him. Wow. Isn't that fascinating how that works? And just looking at that, I thought that was very incredible when I read through that. And there's actually a live video if you want to watch the interview of him saying all that. But just thought I'd point that out, especially to all the people who say that President Trump is just doing this so he can, secretly go and do the take care of them when they go to prison like they did with Epstein. I think one of the things that people overlook more than anything is we all thought, yeah, Hillary Clinton, she must have been the one who had Epstein, killed in prison. I'm not sure about that. It could have been Maxwell and her connections. If she is the boss and the secret leader of all this, then it would make sense that she would want to get rid of Epstein and tie up the loose end, if you will. So I just thought I'd share that. Q says, have faith in humanity. Interesting. Now, today's a big day. President Trump's about to do his speech and check out a fireworks show in Mount Rushmore. It's going to be a great time. I was supposed to be there. I was invited by, let's just say, people very close to the campaign to come out and do it, but it just didn't work out logistically, so we'll have to watch it online. But if you guys are there in Mount Rushmore for this weekend, happy 4th of July. If you guys aren't and you're just at your homes, happy 4th of July. Remember, this is a great holiday, and a lot of patriots put it all on the line so that we could have everything that we have today. Now, before we go, a few more things. Watch these videos, share them on your social media. That's where we're going to go ahead and leave it. A few all other things. Leave your thoughts, theories, and insights below. I want to hear what you guys have to think about all of this. Plus, don't forget you can find me over here on Twitter at JustInformYou, and I'm on Twitter at informed_news. Plus, you can find me on Parler at JustInformedTalk, and the official website for Just Informed Talk is justinformednews.com. The backup channel, of course, is bitchute.com/justinformedtalk. And if you want to make a contribution to this channel, there's Patreon, patreon.com/justinformedtalk. It's a crowdfunding website. Your donations keep this channel alive. And I have a GoFundMe set up. If you want to make a one-time or anonymous donation, links to everything will be in the description below this video. Now, before we go, we do a segment at the end called God's Grace is Greater, where we talk about God's grace and how it is truly greater. Today, I want to share a very important verse, very short but important verse, out of the book of 1 Peter. And we're going to look at 1 Peter chapter 5, verse 6 through 7. Very short verse, but it is very important. It says, "And all of you clothe yourselves with humility toward one another, because God resists the proud, but gives grace to the humble." It says, "Humble yourselves, therefore, under the mighty hand of God, so that he may exalt you in due time, casting all your care upon him, because he cares about you." Powerful words. And the reason I share them is just as a reminder to every one of you out there that humility is one of the most important qualities that we can possess. And humbling ourselves before God is truly one of the best ways to connect with God even more strongly, in my opinion. And what that means is, that means we have to get the pride out of ourselves, and we have to relinquish ourselves to God and trust in his plan and trust in his goodwill and his grace, and remember the sacrifice that was made on the cross for our sins through his son, Jesus Christ our Lord, and remember that that was made so that we can have this great eternal salvation. But humbling ourselves is really a lot more about, as it says here, casting all of our care upon God in heaven, because he does care about us. That's why he sacrificed his son, so that we may have eternal salvation with them in heaven. So my message is just humble yourselves. Continue to humble yourselves before the Lord and cast all your care upon the Lord. And what that really means is put your faith in God. Let God lead the way. Let God guide you, and you will be saved. So that's where I'm going to go ahead and leave it. Share that message with your family, your friends, your loved ones. But that's it for me. Thanks for watching. Remember to come here, hit that subscribe button, hit it, punch it, tap it, whatever. Hit that like button if you guys like this content and want to see me make more. But that's going to be it for me. Thanks for watching this episode of Just Informed Talk. I'm your host, Craig. Godspeed and God bless each and every one of you, Patriots.